Oh no, it's all doom and gloom. Bitcoin dropped by more than 10% yesterday. In fact, on the weekly right now, as of right now, Bitcoin is down 17.83%, which is the biggest drop it's made in a short period of time this year. At least this year. It's been more than a year actually since we've seen Bitcoin drop by more than 5% in one day. So of course everyone is panicking, everyone is talking about the end of the cycle. It's all doom and gloom, everyone is super scared, everyone is panicking. So let's talk about it. Let's look at the charts and see what's Bitcoin going to do. Should we worry? Is this the end of the cycle? Let's find out. Alright guys, welcome to another episode of Crypto Corner with myself, OJ, crypto analyst and investor for the last 8 years. As I said, everyone is panicking, everyone is super scared. What is going on with crypto? I mean, today it's a green day. We see that a lot of coins are doing a very good recovery. We see a lot of 12, 16, 18% in the last 24 hours. There's 32%, 24% even in some of the bigger coins here in the top 100. So definitely the recovery is already ongoing, but of course if we look at the weekly, there are coins like with 42% drop in the last 7 days. MOG is 39%, BOOM is 39%. I mean, a lot of the meme coins are actually suffering heavily. Pepe is also 34% down. I mean, it's not only meme coins. We also have Thor, we have R-Wave, we have Ethereum name service. I mean, we do have quite a lot of tokens that are seeing drops by more than 40% on the weekly. So of course everyone is scared. We see that the fear and greed index is at 17%. Guys, we actually have not seen this index going down below 35 or below 50 in more than a year. So this is definitely the lowest I've seen the fear and greed index go, which is good actually, because for me this is an indicator that now is a very good time. If you still have any money set aside, now it's a great time to be accumulating. Unfortunately, I already jumped in during the weekend, so I didn't manage to get these massive sales yesterday. I managed to get something for about $400, but this is a very small trade, so I didn't really manage to fill my bags at these massive sales because I was already a little hasty, and over the weekend as we were dropping to 62,000 and 63,000 and all of that, I was already buying in bulk. But anyways, let's look at the Bitcoin chart. Now let's first start with the weekly, with the larger time frame, so that we can see what is going on, kind of zooming out, and then we're gonna look at the immediate, the shorter term. So here what we see is that we're still having this pattern in play. This is what I was drawing last time we were looking at Bitcoin. We have this cup and handle formation. We are currently in the handle of this pattern, and we are still forming that handle. We have not really invalidated this. This is a bullish pattern. We have not invalidated it with this drop. What we did, by the way, as you can see, we perfectly bounced from the 50th moving average. This is simple moving average, the orange line. As we came down, we actually touched this moving average, and we bounced up from there. We found the support perfectly at that. We also have the lower support at the 200 moving average. We also have the 100 moving average, which I didn't bring up here, but it's also sitting around here between these two lines. So we do have two lower supports if this one doesn't hold us. But more importantly, we are still at play here in this bullish flag pattern, which is we haven't actually broken down below this pattern. We actually went all the way down to 49,000. What is this, 49,900 it shows me here, but of course on different exchanges it could be a slightly different figure. But we did break the 50k. 50k is a psychological support, so it was very important that we test this level, and it was also very important that we bounce on the upside from here. So this is good news. Also, another thing that I like, these two lines here that you see, the green and red line, this is the pi in cycle indicator. So for everyone who was talking about the end of this cycle already being reached, you know, the top already being reached as we were having an all-time high, these two lines, this indicator is far from showing anything like you know, the cycle top being reached. These two lines need to get close, they need to cross. In fact, the orange line has to cross above the green line for this to actually work, to say that we are close to topping out. And this has not happened. So absolutely too early to talk about the end of this cycle, the top of this cycle. I mean, look at the RSI. This is a stochastic RSI, this is simple RSI. Both of these are at oversold levels, and at levels where usually from here we actually see a spike in the price, you know, a sharp price increase. Last time we were here, we were not even that low in the oversold region, and we bounced quite sharply, right? So this is the same thing, we are bouncing. Of course, we have macroeconomic factors that also are at play, and you know, the stock market is also suffering heavily, so there is a lot of panic selling and everything going on. But we had the same thing around the start of the pandemic in March 2020. And we can go back there. Let me just remove some of these indicators so that we clean up the chart a little bit. Let's go to March 2020 and see what was the recovery back then, because this is a very similar scenario that we are seeing right now, this one here. So at the start of the pandemic we did have this massive sell-off, and it was a really sharp one that actually wiped out again so many longs. And this move, even though it didn't happen in one day, altogether it actually took us down by 62%. Of course, it happened over time, but at its peak, I mean the worst day, which was literally a 40% in one day. Right now we did a 35% correction, by the way, for this whole last few months, and here we had 40% in one day, 39, as you can see. So this was the sell-off that was really one of the worst days in Bitcoin history, where literally in one day you actually see a 40% drop, because in altcoins that happens all the time, but in Bitcoin history that doesn't really happen. So if we compare it to what happened yesterday and how everyone is already talking about, you know, the end of this cycle and all of that, this was a drop of 11%. That's what happened. 11%, guys. It wasn't even that much. It was not even 20 or anything like that. And as it stands currently, we're looking at 27%. We're not even looking at a 30 or 40% correction. We are looking at 27% correction, guys. And everyone is already so scared. I don't really see it. Why is everyone so scared? Look at us, we are still within our range. At some point we are going to break out of this range. This is a bullish pattern, and knowing that this is what this pattern does, it's just a matter of time for us to break on the upside. We've already done 2 attempts and they were not successful. The third attempt could be actually successful. We need to break above this resistance and stay above this resistance. And if we manage to stay for at least a week above this resistance, then we can really talk about a proper rally on the upside to new all-time highs. And it's coming. This oversold RSI, both stochastic and simple RSI, we don't really stay in these oversold levels for that long. It's impossible. Usually we bounce right up. So this is already ongoing. The bounce is already happening. We went to 49k, now we are at 55. I know that on the chart it doesn't look like a big deal, but it's already happening. And lastly, let's look at the 4-hour chart. As you can see here, we are making this really nice V-shaped recovery. This is also what we did at the start of the pandemic. As we dropped sharply, we made a V-shaped recovery. and this is a good recovery. This is always an indicator that the recovery is going to be strong, that we are not going to have hesitation in coming back to these levels. So I'm expecting that we will come here in the region of 60,000 very quickly, and of course we are now going to be finding a little bit of a resistance to break the 60k at first. So this is where I'm expecting that this line, which is actually not part of my charting, this is just me showing here the pattern, the cup and handle formation, but as you can see, this line right now just coincides. So I'm gonna leave it here. I'm not gonna draw another one to make it any messier. I will leave it here. This coincides with our region of resistance. So as we come back here towards this line, towards the 61,000, this is now going to be our area of resistance. This is where most likely we're going to find a lot of struggle to break above this level. We are going to consolidate here perhaps. So this the recovery will actually show us as we come to test this level. The price action here will be very indicative of how strong we are, what is the sentiment, because of course the sentiment is driving the price as well. So if we manage to break above this level very quickly and with a lot of volume and everything, like we saw the drop was having a lot of volume, I want to see just as much volume coming in now on the way up, which is not usually the case. But if we see that, it will be a very strong indication that the recovery is strong, that the sentiment is back, and that we are ready to continue going on the upside. Oh, and also another thing that I wanted to show you is the Dixie chart. This is the dollar index chart, and this is important. I mean, the dollar index has been printing, and this is now quite for some time, this higher lows and higher highs. So it is actually having a mini bull run here, even though it's still, you know, ongoing a correction. This is a downwards corrective move, but you know, in the last few weeks we've seen that it's printing higher lows and higher highs. So this is important. We have to keep an eye on the Dixie, because if it continues going up, this is always bad for Bitcoin. But if the Dixie is dropping, is weakening, which I'm expecting it will, then we can actually see a faster recovery of Bitcoin. This is important for us. In terms of altcoins, they're taking quite a beating. This is the Bitcoin dominance. As you can see, it's steadily going upwards. There's nothing really to indicate that it's ready to drop, you know, to be stopped. We are still approaching this level here of resistance, which is the 58% and the 60%. We are not quite there yet. We are going for it, and I'm pretty convinced that until we get there, we are not really going to take a stop, a breather. So altcoins are still going to wait. They're still going to take a beating. The Bitcoin dominance is definitely still growing. This is one of the other indicators that I'm using. This is token metrics, and it's basically showing us that we are in Bitcoin territory. As you can see here, we are in the orange territory. Orange is the Bitcoin season, and the altcoin season is marked in green. So we are not even close to getting even in between, let alone entering in the green zone, which would be the out season. So far from it, we are in Bitcoin season right now. Your money should really stay in Bitcoin. If you have altcoins, it's probably too late to be pulling money out of altcoins, so I wouldn't really be doing that. But definitely, you know, if you're wondering what to enter right now in the market, enter Bitcoin, because Bitcoin's recovery is going to be, you know, the one that is driving the market. On the other hand, if you are a risk taker and if you know what you're doing, right now with altcoins, you're going to see in percentage rates, you're going to see bigger recoveries. Even though against Bitcoin, they're still going to suffer, but against fiat, if you're entering any altcoin right now, you can easily see 30-40% recovery in a day, which you're not going to see with Bitcoin. But it needs to be the right altcoin, and this is the problem with altcoins, is that they pop in at different times. You're never gonna know whether it's good to dump your money right now into Bonk, or whether it's better to do it with an AI coin, or maybe an RWA deepin. You know, there's so many different sectors to choose from, and you don't really know right now which is the sector that is going to have the best recovery. So if you have to pick a altcoin, like one altcoin right now, I don't really know which one it is, and I'm only saying that because someone asked me just before I started this video, so that's why I'm basically responding in my head to that question. But anyways, as you see already, altcoins are making much bigger recoveries than Bitcoin. Today alone, we see some of the altcoins doing 30, 24%, 22%, 20% as well. If I look at just my watch list, I actually have Pando recovering with 45% from yesterday. I wish I had money to buy Pando yesterday, because this is one of my biggest bags in my portfolio. I've been accumulating Pando for a long time, and I always accumulate it when I see a big drop, but I run out of stable coins. So yesterday I wasn't able to get Pando and see a 44% jump in one day. This is what I'm talking about. Bitcoin is definitely driving this recovery market, but the recovery of the altcoins, DGen is 29% up, Tao, Bitensor is 25% up. I mean, yesterday it went below $200. I haven't seen it below $200 in a while. I mean, Kujira, another meme coin, 24% in one day. Pepe, 17%. So yeah, definitely meme coins dropped heavily, but they're also recovering quite well already. And this is what I want to see. This is what I'm expecting. I told you even yesterday on my social media, I already said the recovery will be epic. So this is what I'm going to end with. This is really all I can say. Don't worry about it, guys. I've seen it all before. This has happened before. These are great opportunities to actually buy at sales and see a very good profit in a very short space of time. So use this to your benefit if you can. As always, thanks for staying until the end of the video. If you like this content, show me your support, give me the thumbs up, and also share it with someone else who would benefit from watching it. You can leave comments if you have any suggestions or any questions. You can leave comments. I always try to respond to comments. And also, while we're here, just pick another one of my videos, and I'm gonna see you there.